These weren't just engines. They were ticking time bombs, stuffed under the hood of cars so fast, so dangerous, that lawmakers, insurance companies, and even NASCAR itself had to shut them down. From Camaros that came with no warranty to Hemis that rewrote racing history, these 7 power plants were literally too powerful for America. And trust me, number 1 didn't just bend the rules. It scared the entire industry into submission. Let's fire it up. Engine number 7, the Buick Nailhead 401. Our story starts with something weird. An engine that looked wrong, acted wrong, and still left hot rodders speechless. The Buick Nailhead 401. Built between 1959 and 1966, this beast was decades ahead of its time. Just look at it. Those vertical valves sticking straight up like nails in a board gave it the name Nailhead. While everyone else was playing it safe, Buick went rogue. They designed something that broke every rule, and it worked. The result? 360 horsepower, 425 pound-feet of torque. And here's the kicker. It hit peak torque at just 2,800 RPM. That's diesel-level grunt in a mid-60s muscle car. Picture this. It's 1965. You pull up next to a Buick at a stoplight smirking. Light turns green, and that old man's car just launches while you're still finding second gear. Most engines of that era had to scream to make power. The Nailhead didn't scream. It just shoved. But here's why it got ignored. Nobody understood it. Hot rodders revved it like a small block Chevy, blew it up, and called it a failure. In truth, when geared right, it could embarrass anything on the street. One old-school builder said it best. It doesn't dance, it doesn't throw flurries, but one punch and it's lights out. Its only real weakness? Image. Buick wasn't cool. Kids bought Mustangs and Camaros, not dad's luxury boat. Today, those same kids are kicking themselves because surviving Nailhead-powered cars now sell for 6 figures. The lesson? Sometimes the best engines aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones everyone underestimated. Now this one's the definition of a wolf in sheep's clothing, the Cadillac 500, the largest production V8 ever built in America. On the outside, it was luxury, Eldorados, Fleetwoods, even hearses, but under the hood, a 500 cubic inch monster making 400 horsepower and 550 pound-feet of torque in 1970. That's right, your grandpa's Cadillac could outmuscle half the pony cars on the block. Here's what made it so wild. Nobody saw it coming. Cadillac buyers weren't supposed to care about speed. They wanted comfort and prestige. So engineers slipped in this monster quietly, without the government or insurance companies noticing. For a brief, glorious moment, you could buy the biggest luxury car in America and secretly own GM's most powerful engine. But the dream didn't last. Emissions laws hit like a wrecking ball. Horsepower dropped from 400 to under 200 in just a few years.
We built the most powerful engine in GM history, then watched the government strangle it to death.
Most 500s were driven into the ground by retirees who never realized what they had. But if you can find an untouched, high-compression 1970 Cadillac 500 today, you're looking at a 6-figure collectible. The Cadillac 500 proved one brutal truth. Sometimes the baddest muscle cars didn't look like muscle cars. They looked like your grandmother's Sunday ride. By 1971, the muscle car era was dying. The Clean Air Act, insurance hikes, and moral crusaders calling muscle cars death traps on wheels. Most automakers gave up. But Pontiac said, not yet. Enter the 455 HO, their last defiant roar against bureaucracy. While everyone else was cutting power, Pontiac built a 4-bolt main block, massive valves, and a Rochester quadrajet carb that inhaled 800 cubic feet of air per minute. The result, 335 horsepower, 480 pound-feet of torque, in an era when rivals were gasping for air. A stock 455 HO could run the quarter mile in under 14 seconds. That's faster than many modern V8 sedans, 50 years later. But Pontiac made one fatal mistake. They put the same engine in too many cars, Trans Ams, GTOs, even wagons. When your grocery getter has the same engine as your street machine, it loses some mystique. By 1975, the legend was gone, neutered to barely 200 horsepower. It was like watching Muhammad Ali get knocked out by a man in a suit. Today though, a numbers-matching 4v5 HO Trans Am, or GTO, will cost more than most people's houses. Because that engine wasn't just Pontiac's last stand, it was muscle's final battle cry. Now this one? This wasn't an engine. This was a factory-built rebellion. The Chevrolet ZL1 427 was a full aluminum big block designed for drag racing, not the street. But somehow, Chevy slipped it past the accountants and sold a few to the public. Officially, it was rated at 430 horsepower. Unofficially, try 500 plus. It was so brutally powerful that it came with no warranty. If it blew up, that was your problem. In 1969, a ZL1 Camaro cost nearly double a regular SS. One buyer famously said, "I could have bought a house, but I wanted the fastest Camaro on the planet." Only 69 ZL1 Camaros were ever built. That's rarer than a Bugatti Veyron today. And those lucky few who bought them, they basically hit the lottery. Because a bone stock ZL1 could run 11-second quarter miles, when most muscle cars struggled to break 13. Today, a real ZL1 is worth between $500,000 and $1 million. The ZL1 wasn't banned by regulators, it was banned by reality. Too fast, too expensive, too wild to live, but never forgotten. Now this one didn't shout, it just hit like a truck. The Oldsmobile 455 Rocket, debuting in 1968, became the heart of the legendary 442. Over 500 pound-feet of torque at just 3,200 RPM. That's more than most modern pickup trucks in a 1970 muscle car. Imagine lining up against a Challenger 440 six-pack. Light turns green. The Rocket barely hits half throttle and walks away. No screaming redline, no drama, just unstoppable torque. But that power came with a price. By 1971, insurance companies were punishing anyone who owned a 455. Premiums tripled overnight. For young drivers, it was financial suicide. And because Oldsmobile had a grandpa image, the Rocket never got the street cred it deserved. Today though, collectors know better. W30 spec cars with Ram Air setups sell for six figures. The Olds 455 proved something that gearheads sometimes forget. It's not about how high you rev, it's about how hard you hit. And this engine hit like a freight train. Engine number 2, Chrysler 426 Hemi. If one engine could make NASCAR officials lose sleep, it was this. The 426 Hemi, known as the Elephant, big, heavy, unstoppable, 425 horsepower, 490 pound-feet of torque. But those numbers didn't tell the real story. At the 1964 Daytona 500, Richard Petty showed up with a Hemi under the hood. His lap times were so fast that rival teams thought their stopwatches were broken. On race day, it wasn't even close. Petty's Hemi-powered car crossed the finish line first, followed by two more Hemis. Chrysler took first, second, and third. NASCAR panicked. They called it too specialized for stock car racing. Translation, it was unfair, so they banned it. Chrysler's revenge? They sold it to the public. For about $800 extra, you could buy the same engine that destroyed NASCAR. Few did. It was too expensive. Only around 12,000 were ever built. Today those cars are holy grails. A real Hemi Cuda or Charger will fetch well over $1 million at auction. The 426 Hemi didn't just dominate racing, it rewrote it. It was the blueprint for every high-performance engine that followed. Engine number 1, Ford 427 Camaro. And now, the legend that terrified NASCAR before it even hit the track, the Ford 427 Camaro. In 1964, Chrysler humiliated Ford at Daytona with the Hemi. Henry Ford II was furious. He gave his engineers 90 days to fight back. Their answer? Take the 427 side oiler block, add dual overhead cams, give it hemispherical chambers, and connect it all with a 6-foot-long timing chain straight out of a factory machine. The result? 616 horsepower at 7,000 RPM, straight out of the box, with dual carbs nearly 6 and 60. Mechanics called it the chain that ate Detroit. Drivers said it felt like a controlled explosion under the hood. But NASCAR never let it race. They called it too exotic. The truth? It scared the competition. Other teams threatened to quit if Ford unleashed it, so the Camaro was banned before it ever turned a lap. Ford didn't quit though. They handed the engines to drag racers. And on the strip, the Camaro became a monster. Tuned right, it could run the quarter-mile in the 8s. Street versions were nearly impossible to live with. Complex, expensive, temperamental. But they cemented their place in legend. The Ford 427 Camaro is the ultimate what-if of the muscle era. The forbidden fruit that proved one thing. Sometimes an engine doesn't need a long racing career to be iconic. It just needs to be too dangerous to exist. These engines weren't just metal and pistons. They were rebellion, creativity, and pure mechanical insanity, the kind of power we'll probably never see again. So which one would you dare to drive? If you could bring just one back today? Drop your pick in the comments. Hit that like button if you felt the rumble, and subscribe, because we've got more forbidden horsepower stories coming your way.